Good evening and welcome to Stupid O'Clock News. I'm Lewis Lee, and the open music is actually growing on me. The U.S. Air Force is preparing to celebrate a milestone with its so-called space plane. The X-37B will have been in space for 2 years come Labor Day, and that's a record for the stumpy little brother to the space shuttle. While the exact mission of the X-37B is highly classified, rumors abound about the 30-foot-long craft that launches like a rocket and lands like a plane. This latest mission seems to be all about endurance of the new composite materials with which it was built. There also appeared to be some new modules attached before it last took flight. As far as how much longer the X-37B will be in orbit, who knows? It's believed it lost its rent-controlled hangar and is now waiting to hear about a great new place in Arizona desert where it can retire. That's news. Back to you. Hey, better rim shot.
Thank you for the news, Lewis. That sort of goes into something we're going to be covering in a little bit about. We're going to have a busy week next week on our armchair channel.
Yeah.
Coming up, we got a static fire and 2 launches, which should be cool. Let's go ahead and bring the rest of the crew in here. Going to bring John, who is our... See, I never go to the same person every weekend. Every week. Every show, we do something different. We got John, and then we have... Skunk.
It's Latin. Don't you know how to read Latin?
No. And then Heather, who is the new addition to the channel, sort of brings our class up a little bit, makes us behave a little more.
It shouldn't. Really. It really shouldn't.
And then there's Dan, the author extraordinaire.
Oh, that's flattering. And I'm glad Lewis is liking the music a little bit.
This is how much we're increasing the amount of class. I lit 3 lighters at once.
No, I always liked the music, but now it's like I'm in the open. I'm just kind of grooving, warming up to it, so.
I'm trying to find our scroll that we're supposed to have, and I deleted it, I believe.
Oops.
There we go.
Hey,
there we go.
Oh my God. Have you heard about this latest one? So somehow or another, the U.S. military collided 2 drones into each other over Syria.
Oh, thanks, John. So you're gonna have to add the U.S. military to the
Stupid
scroll.
O'Clock page. Hey,
List of things our views do not reflect.
Well, that's everything. That's we can't add anything else in there. They only give us 200 characters.
We got 6 on the screen.
Yeah.
Rim shot.
ba-dum-bum.
Ah.
Yes, the faster connection is doing nice. Every time Joe does a cutaway to something like that, I see the whole thing instead of just a blank screen.
Yeah.
And you sound better.
Well, thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. And Lewis is in business mode tonight.
I'm in business mode.
I love the little mic.
Go on, Zoe. Go.
Yeah, the flag
No.
on the mic.
Got to represent, you know.
Hey, we'll have to get you a Stupid O'Clock version.
My production company L2 Images, I've got a mic flag for it. So
Skunk, get on it. You're the image guy.
Now I thought Blake was image.
Yeah, Blake made the Stupid O'Clock logos.
Yeah, Blake's our image guy. Skunk's the video editor. Of course, I'm going to bounce an idea off you guys because you and John got to talking about something. I got to looking today, and there are a lot of old cheesy horror movies in public domain.
mm-hmm.
Yep.
Maybe start rolling the Saturday night Stupid O'Clock into the horror movie.
Just do a watch party.
Sort of like a watch party with interruptions and characters, like the old Shock Theater.
By the way,
we
that
are pretty
reminded me of
witty, but I don't know that we can do MST3K.
I'm
Do
not
you
dressing up
remember-
as Dingbat.
Do you remember?
How about their good body?
Do you remember the person that I brought on last week, Ben?
Ben, yeah.
Kid from New York. Well, guess what he posted on our in our Discord channel?
What?
A link to this is a YouTube channel called the Museum of Classic Chicago Television. Now, I said Chicago, but
Finguli.
588-2300.
nope. The video that he links to is hold on. WTVC Channel 9, Chattanooga, Tennessee, Shock Theater.
Wow.
I'm proud of him.
Really?
So yeah, I did. Yeah, that was the thing. I was looking at all the Chicago stuff, and I was like, "That's Shock Theater. That's from here. That's from Chattanooga." He's like, "Oh my god, it totally is." I was like, "That's awesome, man."
That's awesome.
I remember that from
Yeah,
my childhood from one of the Atlanta TV stations, but they never made it clear where they were getting the source material, the show itself.
Right.
Well,
It was fairly famous nationwide.
Yeah, Dan. Shock Theater was the local show. The station director, Tommy Eason. No, not that was the. What was his name? Shoot, I want to say Tommy Eason, but that's the photographer, right?
Yeah. Tommy Eason was a photographer for Channel 12 first, then Channel 3.
Yeah.
Which station manager are you talking
Oh, by the
At Channel
way,
9. That
just so you
played
know,
Dr. Shock.
about? I don't know about that far back.
Yeah.
Shock Theater
Yeah.
was a what do you call it? A franchise, syndicated franchise from Columbia Pictures,
Oh.
Yeah.
and it was 50 prepackaged or 52 pre-1948 classic horror films.
Yeah.
I was trying to find ours.
Oh. But, well, the guy, Doc Shock, was the program director for Channel 9. And they would come on, and no one was safe in Chattanooga.
Blackjack Blaylock.
Yeah. Especially political figures.
Ooh.
And it wasn't, I mean, the Monday morning water cooler talk was what Dingbat said about the political
Oh, yeah.
authorities. And he even got a. Do you remember when Dingbat was kicked from the show?
I thought he got kidnapped or something like that.
No, that was one of them. But Dan had another. Dan East was the guy that made that. He they had another Dingbat the next week, but Dingbat got Dan East got kicked from the show, and it killed the ratings.
Every Saturday night, you'd hear Black Sabbath come on to. That was the theme music for the start of Shock Theater. Was Black
War
Sabbath.
Pig.
No, not War Pigs. Silly Rabbit. Nativity in Black.
Okay, I thought it was
NIB, yeah.
It Tommy Reynolds was his name.
So, is that as big as that gets? Or, here, I'll throw it up there anyway. You may have to squint really hard to see this. Oh, that was the wrong one.
I did the wrong one myself. Sorry.
Ooh,
What?
I'm going to have to
What'd
do
you-
more than squint. I'm going to have to get the magnifying glass.
Well, my mistake. I picked the wrong Shock Theater.
Okay. So, while you're looking for that, in
Yeah.
New Orleans, we had Morgus the Magnificent and Chopsley.
Oh God.
Let's get Lewis up there full screen.
Oh, sorry.
So that was New Orleans's Shock Theater version. It was Morgus the Magnificent.
Ah,
I think the WLOX in Biloxi used to carry that too. I think that was the one I remember seeing when I was in Biloxi.
If I remember correctly, Morgus the Magnificent was on Channel 26, which at the time was an independent station and is now the ABC affiliate because Channel 8, the ABC affiliate, went Fox. 4 is still CBS, 6 is still NBC.
yeah. This is our Dr. Shock. And
That's
there's
Miss
a lot.
Marsha. That's my
Wow.
Dr. Shock.
Terrifying.
Marsha.
You're going to hell for that one. Okay, yeah, that looks like Dr. Shock.
I wish.
She would have been a great Dr. Shock, though.
She actually had kind of a wicked sense of humor.
She did.
You should have seen her and Luther when they would get together.
I used to see her
They were a couple of dirty old birds.
back
Oh,
when
I
I was
bet.
living up in Middle Valley. I used to see her at the grocery store all the time. Pruitt's, right
Uh,
there at.
have we
Middle
lost?
Oh, go ahead.
Marsha Kling is still with us, isn't she?
Yes,
Okay.
but you don't see her anymore. I mean,
No, she don't get out anymore.
I'm sure she's not in good health.
I mean, she's got to be pushing 90, or on
Well,
the other side.
She was close to Luther's age, and Luther passed away at what, 92?
Something like that.
Oh, hang on a minute. Marcia.
I'd love to figure out a way to actually do that. Do a show using StreamYard.
Yeah, there's Daryl with one
Yeah.
of his many toupees.
Yeah. What's the matter, Skunk?
Somebody's stomping upstairs.
Oh, we can't hear it.
No,
But I can. It's driving me nuts.
You might be able to hear thunder here in a few minutes. There's another cloud moving in over my house.
That my stepbrother and his girlfriend or wife or whatever she is and the kid are going to be leaving tomorrow, which is like I don't really. I mean, I know that my stepmom's going to be bummed about it, and well, but I don't know. And I guess the kid's upset or something because he's stomping around up there. I can hear him.
And the cat's going too, right?
Yeah.
You don't sound thrilled about that.
About the cat leaving?
Yeah.
No, I want to keep the cat.
You done like the cat. Yeah, that crazy cat we got. I mean, just all of a sudden, out of the dang blue, she'll be up in my lap, loving me and all that, and just reach up and slap me in the face and run off.
I cannot find anything about Miss Marcia's age.
Miss Marcia in Chattanooga. Yeah, Miss Marcia in Chattanooga is like Dolly Parton to the rest of the nation.
Hang on a minute. See, I've got a small picture of it. It's the best picture I could find. But that was Miss Marcia back in the day.
Oh, yeah. I was the only kid to ever get kicked off the show because I was too mean.
Why are we not surprised?
They had her and Bob Brandy.
I was on Bob Brandy, too. I behaved myself on Bob Brandy.
Because he had a lasso. He'd whoop your butt.
I wanted to ride the little Debbie cart. See, that's stuff that Skunk and Heather don't.
Yeah, no, I don't have a clue what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Maybe it's better that way.
Skunk, I'm going to tell you, you would have loved TV in the late 60s, early 70s.
Oh, God, yes. Romper
Local
stompers.
TV.
Everybody had to have a pair of romper stompers.
Oh, I remember that.
See, John says romper stomper, and I'm thinking, isn't it that movie about the neo-Nazi in prison?
No, these were sort of like.
You know what's funny? I knew when I said romper
emphasized,
stomper that Skunk was going to come up with that one.
Isn't that the thing? It's like the big plastic cups with the
with the straps.
String.
with the straps. Yeah.
And you like it, yeah, you use them to.
You sounded like a horse when you were walking across the floor.
Yeah.
I've seen them because,
Size stilts.
you know, the movie Romper Stomper that me and John were just talking about, right? They made a reference to that on South Park when Cartman went to juvie for doing something. Cartman got in trouble. He had to go to juvie, right? And while he was in there, there was a guy in there who was Romper Stomper, who was supposed to be the Romper Stomper from the neo-Nazi film from the 80s, right? Except instead he had the 60s Romper Stompers and would walk around with them in the little juvenile hall, like in the prison. So that's how come I know what those are, because Matt and Trey from South Park they remember that from the 70s.
And we were talking about how the old local TV was. Lewis was a star of a local TV show.
Which one are you talking about, Joe?
The one where you broke the set.
Oh,
That wasn't local.
I was a contestant.
That wasn't local though.
That was
local for him.
Baton Rouge.
I was supposed to say it was local for him when he was kind of bad.
Well, that's what we were talking about. Just
But
local TV
it
at
wasn't
the
local
time.
here.
Yeah. No, just local TV back in, that was what, 70s for you, Lewis?
No, actually, that was
80s. He was rocking the Magnum PI mustache.
Yeah, I had that porn star stash going there.
Yeah, back before infomercials, that's when TV was the best.
Oh yeah,
Infomercials, they just killed the local TV.
Well, I mean, infomercials pay to be on, and that's always gonna push out something that costs to produce.
Yeah. Yeah, infomercials pay, and the local TV, you got to pay the people to be there.
And I feel slighted because the Channel 17 Shock Theater didn't have a host. Just had a fanfare, a kind of Ripley mirror effect of a skull, and then back to the movie.
From what I was just reading, most of the Shock theaters were like that. It was very rare that a studio actually had a personality get dressed up in costume and play one of the Shock people.
Oh.
Chattanooga was special.
Of course.
Maybe that's why Elvira took off. She had the best costume.
You're talking about
It wasn't
WTCG.
the costume. It was how she wore it.
Yes,
and almost wore it.
You could have put that costume on a lot of women. It wouldn't have made a bit of difference.
I will say this. I will say this though. I don't think a whole lot of women would have been willing to wear that costume the way that she did, because the reason why that costume worked so well was that they used gaffer tape to hold it together, so she didn't burst out of it.
God bless America.
Dan, you're talking
have you seen her recently?
Yeah, she's gorgeous.
She still looks good.
Oh my
And
God.
she's what, 70s?
She's got to be in her 70s, man. I mean, because she was doing TV when I was in elementary school.
She just turned 70.
You're kidding me.
No.
She must have been a teenager doing that then.
Yeah.
Well, she still looks as good.
She was only 5 years older than my dad.
Yeah, she looks better now than she did as Elvira. Her girlfriend's not bad looking either, but now Dan, you were talking about Channel 17.
Yep.
You mean WTCG?
Okay. Let's see. You're wrong. She is only 68.
68. Okay, I thought she just turned 70. Okay.
No, it was one of the Ted Turner channels.
That's what Channel 17 used to be, WTCG, before they became WTBS.
Mm-hmm. More than likely, it was before the change when they were doing Shock Theater. This was early 70s, really early 70s. I was still in high school.
Well, evidently I forgot to plug my phone up. Let's see. Didn't Superstation WTBS have the Friday night night flight show?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I want to say yes.
And they also had the annual one with all the Godzilla movies, Monster Madness or something like that.
Monster Mania.
Monster Mania.
No. I think you're thinking of Monster Vision. That was on.
That's it.
That was on TNT.
TNT.
Another Ted Turner.
Yes, it was Turner Network Television, not Turner Broadcasting Systems. But yes.
Speaking of Ted Turner, he's the one that started this.
Yeah, WGOW was his.
Yep.
Yep.
He was a Poly grad, and he came back to Chattanooga and started a couple of radio stations and
the Billboard Company.
Yeah.
And at one time was in good contention to be mayor of Chattanooga.
That would have been a trip.
Damn Yankees.
Well, what was it? Somebody pissed him off, and he just said, "Screw Chattanooga," and left.
They probably said something not very polite about his wife.
No,
I can tell you a story about something like that.
This was before CNN.
Oh. That's a while back.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why he ended up selling WYNQ 106.5.
That would have been a country music station around here.
Wait a minute. 106.5 is KZ106.
Yeah. And they changed the call letters in 1978 and changed the format. And it's been, you know, they bought a playlist in 1978 and have never changed it.
Yeah.
But it's been successful for them. So
As Gary used to call it, the Pink Floyd station.
Oh, that would have been much better than what we would have had around here.
I'm sure I've talked about this on here before, but it always bothers me so much that that Rock 105 used to have commercials saying like, we don't play sucky stuff like Led Zeppelin on Rock 105. Save that for KZ 10 sucks. You know, and we're Rock 105. We play Buckcherry and Nickelback.
Well, you know what happened?
And now
Corporate radio.
Every single morning as I'm working, the guy that opens the warehouse always puts on Rock 105. And every single morning, without fail, at some point, I will hear Pink Floyd, Led Zeppelin, and the Rolling Stones. Without fail, every morning.
Well, I think there's only, 3 stations in town that actually have a human being on the air?
And I was going to point out that it's always the same 3 songs, too, by the way.
Oh, yeah. It's always only the same few songs. The songs remain the same.
It's When the Levee Breaks. Oh, and Hendrix. They also play Hendrix every morning, too. It's When the Levee Breaks. All Along the Watchtower. Money. And Beast of Burden.
Beast of Burden.
little trivia for you. When the Levee Breaks, John Bonham recorded that in a stairway with one microphone. Incredible sound.
You ever heard the story about Geezer Butler keeping Def Leppard in the studio for just months doing Pyromania? And he just kept pushing them to do better. And guy went outside to take a cigarette break, and the lead singer from Whitesnake came in and was in the studio across the hall. Came in, and he was watching through the windows. The guy comes in, does this little bit in one take. They said, "That's good," and walks out. And they've been in the studio already for 3 weeks, and he's like, just like. And he said he was about to quit Def Leppard right there.
I thought Mutt Lange was their big producer.
Geezer Butler, if I remember the story correctly.
That may have been.
But they tell me when you get older, your memory goes. So.
What?
Yeah,
but I don't remember who told me.
Yeah, right after your hearing, Dan.
What?
Now Mutt Lange was the producer for AC/DC, and then he did Def Leppard and another big rock band. Married Shania Twain and made her a country superstar. She got mad at him, kicked him to the curb, and ain't done nothing since.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
hang on a minute. I
looked it up.
It wasn't Geezer Butler. Okay, I did get the name wrong.
Yeah, it was Robert John Mutt Lange.
Mutt Lange.
Yeah.
From the Blues Brothers. Was he not?
No.
No?
No, Mutt Lange was
He's the guy that used to, every time they got ready to do the song, he'd say something stupid. And at the beginning of Pyromania, he's the one that's going, so that's actually his.
That's him.
Credit. That's his credit. Yeah, he's on the album.
All right, then who was it that was in the movie version of the Blues Brothers band that I'm confusing with this guy?
There were
When you're talking about the Blues Brothers band, you're talking about a lot of people.
Yeah, I know.
10 people. Was he in the band? Did he play an instrument in the band?
I haven't the faintest idea. That I just remember the name. Could be Donald Duck Dunn, but you know.
When you said blues, that made me think of something this morning, right, Lewis?
Did you stub your toe again?
The kid in the tiger stripe pajamas.
Oh, man. Yeah.
I mean, the only person I'm really seeing that you could be thinking of, I'm guessing, is Matt Guitar Murphy.
That could be it. That could be it.
Because he's the only one. He's the only one that really gets referred to by his full name.
And Donald Duck Dunn, but I don't even think they used Duck.
They just called him Doug. They would just call him Doug. Everybody else was called by their first name, except for, of course, the brothers themselves, like
Joliet, Jake, and
yeah. They would always call him Joliet, Jake, and Elwood. But like everybody else, like Willie was called Willie, Steve was called Steve. They had the guys that were in the movie and stuff. Really, Matt Guitar Murphy's the only. I mean, Alan Rubin, Paul Schaefer doesn't count because he's not in the film, but he had a nickname too.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But yeah, like Willie Hall, they just called him Willie. They didn't call him Willie Too Big Hall like his nickname is, where he's credited as on the album and stuff. But in the but no, like Blue Lou Marini is just called Lou in the movie.
I mentioned him Blue Lou once when they're looking for him.
When they're looking for him, when they go to find him. Lou has the best line in the entire film too, by the way. He has the absolute best line in the whole film, which is when they're at the country and western bar and they get up on stage. He looks around and goes, "Chicken wire." It's my
I'll be
favorite.
back.
Oh, okay.
I still love that part because he has the most incredulous look on his face as he looks around and he just goes, "Chicken wire."
I think. Well, the part I like is they ask the lady that runs the bar. They ask her what kind of music they normally play here, and she goes, "Oh, we have both kinds, country and western."
And they ended up playing Rawhide.
Well, they played Rawhide, Stand By Your Man, and then they played Rawhide again. The implication is that they throughout the rest of the night they were playing all sorts of other stuff to get the crowd on their side. Well, they started out with "Give Me Some Lovin'," but the crowd turned on them.
And they found out what the chicken wire was for.
Yeah. Well, the funny part about it is that when the bottles start flying and they're hitting the chicken wire and exploding and everything, then the lights get turned out. It's like, hey, why'd they turn the lights off? Maybe they blew a fuse. No, man, those lights are out on purpose. Okay, we got to think of something that these people are going to like and fast, right? So then they start playing Rawhide, and then when the people in the audience get excited about Rawhide, they throw even more bottles.
What you got there, Joe?
It's a pet.
But this is Bella's daughter. The other dog. This is her daughter. Bella is a teacup. This one discovered food. She's a coffee mug.
No, that's a growler.
Yeah.
Literally.
Sometimes I do come up with some good one-liners.
You see, that's why he's the author.
Yeah. Believe it or not, this dog was dead for about 10 minutes.
I remember that.
And then after we brought her back and went through all the treatments and everything, she got fat on us, and we can't get the fat out of her. and she has the constant dirt going.
No, I was just reading on the Wikipedia page for the Blues Brothers that as the Blues Brothers, they were traveling around the country, and this is the Blues Brothers. This is Elwood and Z. This is after John passed away and stuff. And they were traveling around. When they would travel around the country and play shows, they would have guests that would join the Blues Brothers band and help out with songs. Right?
John Goodman,
or
Jim Belushi,
people,
yeah.
or people who would be playing with them for that tour or whatever, right? And some of these names are people like Rob Paparazzi and Bobby Harden and stuff like that. Eddie Floyd was one of them. So Eddie Floyd toured around with the Blues Brothers at one point.
I think I saw them together at the Hard Rock
Was that
Casino in Biloxi.
Was that the Jim Belushi incarnation?
I don't know. It might have been.
What?
Eddie's still alive, so.
No, Eddie is a famous guitar, or I think he's a guitarist.
He's a R&B singer and songwriter. He did Knock on Wood. I think he can play guitar. He was doing stuff he did stuff with Blues Brothers band, Red, White, and Blues. It says here, Blues Brothers band. That was the album that he cut with them and the tour that they went on.
Okay.
And then I was gonna say, of course, Cab Calloway. He famously did a lot with the Blues Brothers. I forgot Joe Morton was in that movie.
Ray Stevens.
Ray Stevens?
Or not Ray.
You're talking about
Stevie Ray?
No. Ray.
Say that again.
Ray Charles?
Ray Charles. Ray Charles.
Ray Charles technically isn't part of the band. He performed in the film.
Yeah.
Of course, they also had.
He was just sitting there in the music store playing the piano.
Oh, is that all he was doing?
Well, I mean.
Then they had what's his name? Boom, 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 boom.
That was
John Lee Hooker.
Yeah, John Lee Hooker.
Oh, and we can't forget Aretha Franklin.
Aretha Franklin.
Jim Belushi. Have you heard about his latest project?
Nope.
No.
Let's just put it this way. Thursday nights, 10 o'clock on Discovery Channel.
Mm-hmm.
Growing Belushi.
Growing Belushi?
Growing Belushi. Let me guess. He moved to Colorado and he's growing marijuana.
Oregon.
Is he growing marijuana?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Who isn't these days?
And
well, me, for one. I don't want to go to jail. It ain't legal here.
I love to see some of the branded stuff, like Paul Newman, homegrown, stuff like that.
Yeah. Have you heard of Captain Jack?
Harkness?
The strain Captain Jack.
The what?
There is a strain.
Oh. Okay.
There's a strain called Captain Jack.
Oh. I have not heard of it. No.
This guy in 1970 went to Afghanistan, got a sack of seeds of some stuff that's almost psychedelic. He brought it to the U.S. and refined it. Jim Belushi killed all but 10 plants. The guy is pissed.
I don't doubt it. Oh.
But, of course, there is one of the most famous providers that has his own brand now.
Probably one of those guys that's part of a comedy duo.
Willie Nelson?
No. I walked past that bus at Riverbend. I was scared to death I was going to have a drug test the next 3 or 4 days.
Willie Nelson.
I mean, as I walked past, the door opened. It looked like a scene out of Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Yeah. See, that's somebody else that needs to come up with his own brand. Is Sean Penn.
Oh, Sean Penn.
Oh,
No.
Sean Penn, though, he hates Spicoli. He hates that character, so he would never do it.
You know, that's too
But-
bad because Spicoli's the one that brought him to the dance.
Yeah.
I do want to point out, though, that, like, going along those same lines, I'm really super shocked, absolutely flabbergasted.
Okay, now
Jay and
hang on a minute.
Bob have not done it because they should be the ones to do so.
True. That would be another Jay and Silent Bob. Yeah, what would they call it though? They'd have to give it a
Well,
name.
if you saw the movie, the Jay and Silent Bob reboot, they would call it Cocksmoker. Because that was the name of the restaurant they were selling pot out of.
Well, I always thought they'd go
Yes,
with the
Kevin
comic book
Smith
and call
already
it
has his own
Bloodman.
strains.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Does
yeah.
he? See, I didn't know that. See, I thought
Now, see,
Tommy
Skunk
Chong
was
does.
talking about.
Doesn't he?
Say that again, Lucas.
Tommy Chong does, doesn't he?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's who I was thinking of.
Well,
Yeah.
Tommy also, before all of this legalization stuff started kind of happening across the country in a big way with like Colorado and Washington and stuff, Tommy actually went to prison for selling bongs.
Yeah.
And it was really funny. There was this DEA bust on him where they had a quote unquote undercover agent, right? Who came in, who like knocked on his door. It was just all like, I'd like to come in, and he was totally acting like a cop too, and being all like, I'd like to purchase some of your wares, and he's like, oh, you want some of my bongs? And he's like, yeah, these are for smoking tobacco. Fuck no, man, they're for smoking weed. What are you, a cop?
That's exactly what he would say.
He knew too. He knew. He was like, I'm going to prison today. I really don't care. They give it
Well,
to
the thing is,
he's like, yeah.
there is a big thing in the United States right now, and you won't really hear about it because it's not really in the news. Is because they're trying to get marijuana legalized everywhere. There are people that are literally flouting the laws in the hopes of getting arrested so that they can push it in court and get it and just say it's unconstitutional. And there is a legal fund that if you know who to talk to and you get busted for this sort of stuff, call this guy. They will send you some serious legal help.
Yeah.
And they'll go after state DAs and everything.
Now, you do realize that my mother has 72 acres of farmland. If it ever gets legalized in Georgia, I'm getting back on the tractor.
So here's the thing, though, Dan, and you got to think about this, right? You would be. It's not going to be like those episodes of South Park where Randy decided, I got Tegrity. I'm going to make Tegrity weed. It's going to be a Tegrity weed farm. You're not going to be able to start one overnight and be able to compete. You will immediately lose out on when it comes to the legal selling of marijuana.
Okay,
in your
wait a
area,
minute.
especially in your area.
Skunk,
You're already going to have all of the illegal guys will just switch over and start selling.
Skunk, look at Dan. I mean, just look at Dan. Okay. You put that face on a box of weed, he'll be as big as Cheech and Chong. Okay.
Guaranteed.
I want to point out I'm not a pothead or anything, but
Yeah,
I do want to
we
point
believe
out
you.
John definitely isn't, because he just called it a box. Weed does not come in boxes; it comes in bags,
Depends on how
Okay.
you order it.
or it comes in
Do you have
jars.
Netflix,
Me?
Dan?
Yeah, sure do.
Okay, watch. There's a series called The Business of Drugs. Watch the 5th episode of that show, and it gets into what California is having to deal with in order to stay legalized
Mm.
for the sellers
Lynetta,
and the buyers.
Lynetta,
Well,
Skunk doesn't look like a
California
seller.
is
He looks like a buyer.
notorious for making everything more difficult than it needs to be. So,
Yeah.
It's got some stuff in there about Oregon as well, but it's mainly done in California. But what it is the show covers 6 different drugs, and it's done by a reporter. And she goes on both sides of the drug business from the sellers and the buyers' standpoints. So you see, or the law enforcement and the buyer seller market. So you see both sides of the debate with each of the different drugs. But I learned a lot about the whole thing with the weed laws and all of that watching that show.
Yeah, that's one of the things I can't do because I've still got 3.5 years left before retirement. And if my browser history ever became public, I'd be
You have to
able to
write a new
retire
book.
a lot sooner, but I wouldn't be able to get as much retirement money. And between my 401k,
If your browser history went public, it'd probably make a good book.
it has made several already. Oh,
Yeah.
Lord.
Yeah, I just put that into the private chat.
Yes.
Look that up. I am acquainted with the owners.
Oh, something I just saw and wanted to share with you guys. There's a small airport in South Florida that had a bunch of airplane parts shipped to them. And one of them was in a big green container. And they're like, what the heck is this? They open up. It's an Exocet missile.
Oh, I remember that.
Apparently, somehow or another, it's an air-launched Exocet. So apparently the Air Force accidentally shipped these folks a live anti-ship missile. Okay. They're talking about, 1,000-pound warhead easily. And just, it wasn't armed at the time, but, one good lightning strike or something like that, Can you imagine? Well, I think it was FedEx. Let me see if I can. It says it was shipped. No, it doesn't say how it was shipped. But anyway, it was shipped to this company that fixes airplanes as a part.
Well, that one would have really fixed something somewhere.
Okay.
Well,
sir, this airplane will never be fixed, but we've got a part to fix it.
It just makes me think of, shipping errors and craziness with that sort of stuff. It really does happen all the time. You got to think about it. I mean, it's an unfortunate fact. It apparently we can't do anything about it, as was proven recently when 2,750 tons of ammonium nitrate just went.
Well, what about back in the 80s when the guy bought the military auction out of a warehouse in Texas? Have you heard this story, Lewis?
I don't
Bought
think so.
bought 6 crates. They were like 20 feet long, 8 feet high. Once he opened, it was, lot number such and such, and he bid, got them for like $180,000. Opened the first one up, ready to ship over to Japan, to Pacific Front, P51 Mustangs. Bought 6 of them.
6 P51. When was this?
In the mid-80s, early to mid-80s.
Wow. For 180 grand, huh?
Yeah.
The Texas National Guard was one of the last units to still be flying P-51 Mustangs. They flew those things right up until right after Vietnam, if I remember correctly. They still had P-51 Mustangs.
And those things are almost as good as a Spitfire. Well, in some circles, that would go one way or the other, but they're definitely highly maneuverable planes.
I think
And one of
Primitive
them-
Air Force is the last people flying them now.
Well, one of them is owned by Jack Roush now.
Oh, okay. The racing guy.
Yeah. He's crashed it twice.
All these things happen. Why do I keep hearing that pinging noise? Who's getting texted?
That's not
I
me.
am.
Not me.
Tell them to stop filming.
I've got the volume turned off, but it doesn't do anything about PMs. We're planning a birthday party for my mother tomorrow night. Her birthday was yesterday. She wants to go to a restaurant. My sister just told me the schedule. So usually what happens is that I'm so paranoid about being late that Lindsay and I arrive half an hour before everybody else in my family. So I just asked her how many people to reserve a table for in case that happens again, which is normal for me. Mom is 83 now, and she shares her birthday with my oldest daughter, who just turned 50. And I will be 63 this year. I'll leave the math as a challenge to the experts.
You started young, kid.
No, I just married 3 women that already had kids. So
you were the victim of a cougar attack.
Well, no, the second 2 were actually younger than me. The first one was 10 years older. Yeah.
That's definitely a cougar.
Yeah. She singled me out because I was the only man in the factory that didn't make a pass at her when she was a temp worker that week.
The last use of a P51 by then had been renamed an F51 by the U.S. military was in 1968. So.
Wow.
Yep.
Sorry, guys. I had vegan trail mix.
Isn't all trail mix vegan?
Yeah.
Not if it
Vegan means
contains
that
chocolate.
vegan means that it's not made with any animals or animal byproducts.
Right. So no egg, no fat oil, no butter.
No
No
milk.
M&Ms.
Yeah, no M&Ms in it, which sucked. It
The oils that they use for the cooking of the pretzels and stuff like that.
Yeah, needless to say, the burping and belching, I'm sorry, is... I'll let them eat the rest of it.
I was about to say, was it worth it?
No. It was good, but it's
Not that good.
fighting back. All right, next topic. Somebody come up with something.
Well, as a return to one of our previous topics, you have to remember that as a teenager and in my early 20s, Dad and I did farm 400 acres of soybeans. So I am not unfamiliar with producing stuff in bulk. And instead of boxes or baggies, I'm afraid mine would have to be in hay bales. So we're talking about 100 pounds per bale.
Would it work?
I could make it work.
Because it's like tobacco. You're supposed to hang it upside down and let it dry out and cure.
Well, basically, from what I remember from college, all you really need are the buds.
Not been very good if he remembers it.
Huh?
It must not have been very good if he remembers it.
Oh no, it was so good I can't remember it. No, you really just need the. You don't need to run a combine through it and get the seeds out, because the seeds are not what you want. You don't want the stems. Occasionally, you can make do with the leaves, but having been dried. But yeah, you could do it. It probably would be much more successful treating it as tobacco and
best thing
cutting
to do-
down. Yeah,
The best
cutting
thing to
down
do
each
with the leaves,
individual plant and hanging it upside down for all the resin to soak back into everything as it dried. But
the best thing to do with the leaves is reduce them in butter, and then strain out the leaves from the butter, and all the chemical that was in the leaves will still be in the butter. And then you take the butter and make things like brownies and cookies. And
That's how you're actually supposed to make brownies and cookies.
well,
Not
actually,
crush the bud up and throw it in there.
I was thinking that it would be better to have beehives.
Hey, Skunk.
Yeah.
Can you think of the honey that came from that particular beehive? We'd sell it. We'd market it under the non-sugar sweetener. Well, we'd sell this under Sweet and High as a brand name.
Skunk, did you see the meme that I tagged you in today?
Yes. I did.
Skunk, Chewy just commented on it. He said, "I need a leash."
And
You
then he
personally?
posted a GIF of a girl messing with a leash lead.
Yeah. For Dan, see, you've never seen me at a convention when I'm lit. This is about the best way to describe me at a convention when I'm lit.
Dude, you are totally lit all the time.
No.
I have never seen you when you weren't lit. Except when you were in extreme pain and complaining that your doctor's prescriptions didn't work.
Well, the real $1 million question is: does anybody want to see me not lit?
That would be interesting.
Oh, I'm afraid you left us all in the dark.
What?
Dan is on fire tonight.
Hey, hang on a minute. Sound like John and Heather know way too much about cannabis. Lynetta, I would love to start cooking with cannabis. Okay.
Hey, I do want to point out that really, again, John said that weed comes in boxes.
So does wine.
Hey, it's time for the hour
Oh,
break.
that's cardboard to know.
And then and B, look, I'm not a pothead. I'm not a connoisseur of pot or anything. It's very, very, very rare that I will indulge in any of that. I prefer to stick to beer. Just about 99.999% of the time. Partially because it is still illegal in this area and I don't want to get in trouble, and also because, if you do get like a random drug test or something, which can happen at my work, I would be instantly fired. But I know a lot about it. Like, I know a lot about the effects and everything else because I know so many. I live with a pothead right now.
Who doesn't?
There are
I
times
wouldn't have told that one, son.
I'm not going to live here very much longer. I really don't give a crap.
Well,
But hey, that's a topic of conversation I can update everybody on. So finding a place for me and Mr. Blair, good old street money, to live in has been a bit of a nightmare because all of these rental websites that you see that, like, we have apartments for rent, or just not that they have apartments for rent, but here's a listing of apartments that people have for rent. Apartments, houses, townhouses, condos, etc. Right? If you go onto those websites, they will list. I've seen them list. Like one place was updated. It said 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, it just went up for rent. Okay. Nice townhouse. Looked like it just recently been built, actually. The photos of the location looked really nice. It was in a really deep, like really super decent area of Cleveland. It was literally down the street from Joe's dad, Bill. So it was like, it doesn't matter if this place doesn't even have washer dryer connections. We could just drive 5 minutes down the street. We have a washer and dryer right there. It's not a big deal. Plus, we get to go see Bill, say hi. You know, we do that like once a week. You know, me and Joe just make a trip down there. You know, and just like all of this is like a perfect place. So I call them up, and they're like, "That place isn't vacant. Somebody's been living there for years. Their lease isn't even up yet."
Then why was it listed last week?
Message me later. I'll give you the deets on how to find apartments in Cleveland.
No. I'm getting to that. I'm getting to that. You're rushing me along.
Somebody new popping in, Alexis. Look who's here, Skunk.
I don't know who the hell that is.
Will's sister-in-law, Alexis Real.
Oh, I didn't know that Will had a sister-in-law.
Alexa.
Okay. So anyway, I see this situation unfold before me, and I start calling other apartments that were on our possible list that we had already. And I call them up, and I'm like, "Do you guys know we don't have any vacancies right now? Please call back later." I call the next place. They're like, "We don't have anything." I go to the next place. There's not even a phone number for this one. I'm at wit's end, right? And all of these different websites, I started to notice all of them would have about 10 of the same locations on one of them would be different. It would only be on that one website. And out of most of the websites, which apartment list is terrible anyway, but apartment list and apartment guide and all these other ones, you look at these places, and these places that they would have, these one-off places that only that website would have for whatever reason, they're the only ones advertising this space, would have in them these would be like the most expensive. One of the places was like a 3-bedroom house for like $1,800 a month. And my stepbrother lives in a 4-bedroom house. He pays $1,600 a month, and he lives outside of Chicago. It is ridiculous. I don't care how nice this place is. There was one place, and there was a 3-bedroom for $900, right? Which sounds like a great deal. 3-bedroom for $900 a month. Until you look at the photos and realize that you're going to catch something. You're going to catch COVID. You're going to catch COVID 2, the second story, staying in this place, or some kind of mold disease that'll turn you into that creature from the Creepshow TV show, right? Wow. It's just a horrible place. It's nasty looking. I finally look at Zillow.com. Zillow.com is a website that's mostly for trying to find a house. I know they had a rental section. I never looked at the rental section before because I always thought of Zillow as a place you would go to find realty for a house. So I go and look at Zillow, and I found a townhouse that's actually, it's a little bit more expensive than what we're looking at, but it's closer to Joe's work. It's in a nicer area. It's in a really nice neighborhood. $750 a month. It looks dope. I call them up. I'm like, "Please tell me this place is still available." And they're like, "Oh yeah, it's still available. When would you like to come down and see it?" It's like, Monday, 5 p.m. They're like, "Monday, 5 p.m. You bring your friend and come on down." So I'm like, "Oh God, please tell me nobody gets this place in the next 3 days. Like, just give us 3 days." And so we're gonna attempt to snag this joint on Monday. We're gonna see what happens.
I have heard there is a housing shortage in this area.
Yeah, I'll tell you exactly why too. Because everything around here is expensive. I don't know if it's not so much of a housing shortage as that everything's just way too expensive. Somebody posted on Facebook. There was an article I don't remember which news site it was on. I want to say it was Channel 9, but I could be wrong. Had a news article that said that landlords in the local area are freaking out because way too many people can't afford their rent. And it's getting to the point where landlords are starting to lose money, and they're in fear that they're going to lose all their properties, they're going to lose their livelihood and all this other stuff, which a lot of people were commenting on that and just being all like, yeah, well, you're scum filth and all this other stuff and just going after the landlords. And I get it. Like, yeah, it's whatever. If you have your opinions about it however you want. But my thing was like, no kidding. Everything is so expensive. It's unbelievably expensive. If you're somebody who is, if you're an adult, right, working 40 hours a week, you should be able to afford an apartment in this town. I work over 40 hours a week. I get paid more than minimum wage. And the only place in town I can afford to live at by myself, there's two places, Patton Towers and the Overlook. And the only difference between Patton Towers and the Overlook is that the Overlook doesn't catch on fire every week.
Overlook? Where is Overlook?
That's over there off of, it's Martin Luther King. You make a left, and that circles all the way back around. I forget what the name of that road is. I think it starts with a W. It's like Washington or something like that. Willow. I don't know.
I thought maybe you were talking about the old King's Lodge up above.
No, actually, I was wrong. It's not. I don't know why I said it started with W. It's Boynton Drive.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's where Patton Towers is.
I think I was thinking of West MLK because it's off of West MLK. Okay. But yeah, Boynton Drive and then Patton Towers is over here on the other side of
John.
24. Or not 24, 27. It's on the other side of 27. But it's
Patton Towers?
Patton Towers
Is over by the TVA building.
Yes.
Okay.
The overlooks on the west side of 27. Patton Towers on the east side of 27.
How rude!
And it's one of those things though that it's like I remember when I used to work for a laundry company that serviced the Overlook, and I would pull up outside and would immediately I would be on my guard as soon as I got there, because as soon as I got out of my van, people would start hitting me up for money. The people that live there are on the sidewalk hitting people up for money. Right? It's the place is super sketchy. It's not a good place. I don't like it there. And it's the only place in town I can afford. Patton Towers is the other one, and they don't even have any vacancies right now. They're probably caught on fire again. I don't know. But it is really one of those things where it's just like, nah, the rent in this town is just way too high. They need to lower the rent prices, or companies around here need to increase the pay, because the standard of living in this town is it's not enough. Now, I said something to my boss about it, and she was like, they're not going to, work is not going to, the office is not, the head office is not going to increase the standard of living, or everybody's rate. Like, nobody's getting raises. They're going to give raises to the entire terminal because everybody can afford a place to live. So the only option, since the companies aren't going to raise the rates of what they pay the employees, the only option is for the renters to lower the rent, for the landlords to lower the rent. And they're not going to do that either. So you're in this weird stalemate here in this town where it's like, you can't afford a place to live. And if we can't afford places to live, landlords are not going to be able to afford the properties. They're not going to be able to afford to pay the taxes on the properties. They're not going to be able to afford any of the maintenance or anything else, because they're losing money, which means they're going to lose more tenants, which means they're going to lose more money. It's going to be a domino effect, and the entire economy in this area is going to collapse. I don't know if this is because of COVID-19 or not, but I truthfully believe, no, it's their rent prices are just way too high. I mean, you're talking like single bedroom apartments in crappy areas of this town are $850 a month. for a studio in like Eastlake? No, this should not be that high. It really shouldn't.
That's twice what I paid for a mortgage on a 3-bedroom house out in the middle of nowhere.
Well, I'm going to tell you, I had somebody tell me why the damn rent's so high. Is all these places are set up with home offices. People working the call centers and all that from Atlanta live in Chattanooga.
I heard about that. There was at least one website for an apartment complex that literally stated on the website that they had a special offer for if you're coming to Chattanooga from another city to work, right? There was and the company was sending you to Chattanooga to work. So, for example, if T-Mobile hired you and brought you to Chattanooga, T-Mobile could get you a deal on that apartment as a something that I forget what they call it. It's like
teleworker,
corporate housing or something like that, and you get a discount. Well, I live in Chattanooga. I don't live in Atlanta. Those people, if they're able to drive all the way up here and get an apartment or whatever, and they're working at a place like that where they have to move, right? The company should not be paying for them to have an apartment there. They should have to scrap and suffer like the rest of us. I'm sorry, it's just that's the way I feel about it.
Well, that's why a lot of the apartment complexes are converting. These companies are sending people to live here to work because of our internet.
I bet there's I was going to say, I bet another part of it is that we have two major industries that are making billions of dollars in this country have locations here in Chattanooga as well. And that's Amazon
and Volkswagen.
And I bet because a lot of the people that want to work at Amazon and Volkswagen that live in Chattanooga already have jobs at Amazon and Volkswagen. I think in order to increase the amount of people that they're hiring, they're probably bringing in people from out of town. Again, there's the deal. The EPB internet for the people that work from home, even more so. It's just, but why are they getting discounts if they're making such good money? They don't have to go anywhere. They should pay rent just like everybody else.
Yeah.
I don't know. It really upsets me because I didn't want to move to Cleveland. You know, I'm glad that I am now because I know that Joe, you know, he's going to have a roommate and he's going to be good and everything's going to be good there. I wouldn't want to leave my buddy in the, hanging like that.
What was that?
That was mine.
It's right. It's on his desk, and his mic is on his desk. Oh. So when his phone went off, it went through
the
table to his microphone.
Was his phone on vibrate? Yeah.
I didn't realize it. My phone was leaning up against the microphone.
When he said it was mine, I thought he was talking about his butt. I feel like, Joe, that vegan trail mix is coming out the wrong end now.
I've already had to mute my mic a couple times.
But no, what I was gonna say was that I'm glad now that I'm not because I'm helping Joe out and stuff. Joe Blair, Street Bunny. I'm helping him out, and I'm happier about that than I was before. But before that, like I didn't want to look at Cleveland. I didn't want to look at Lafayette. Those are the only places that were having anywhere near affordability for me to be able to rent from. When I was looking, was places like Lafayette and Cleveland and Pikeville, like. I don't want to move that far away from I want APB internet, and I have to give that up for at least a year, unfortunately. But once if this plan with Joe works out the way that I think it's going to, we're gonna have no problems after a year. Like we're gonna get a dope place in like Hickson. It's gonna be awesome. We'll probably rent a house or maybe even start buying a house. I don't know. Figure something out, man. Like. It's going to be party central, though, no matter what. And I'm gonna be happy about it.
Worst thing about owning your own house is the property
Everything.
tax and the homeowner's insurance. Because the county I live in has jacked up the value of the house that I bought over the last 25 years. So now it's worth 10 times what I actually paid for it.
Sounds
And
like
all I've
Mom-
done to develop the place is mow the yard and kill some kudzu.
There was. Well, go ahead.
I'm tempted to build a chicken wire geodesic dome over the entire acre and a quarter, and just let the kudzu grow over it, where it looks like it's a totally abandoned property again.
And that would probably cut down on your electric bill too.
Oh
Sounds
yeah, it'd make it much
okay.
cooler, but I wouldn't be able to garden because there'd be no sunlight getting through.
I was looking at this one place that was for sale in Hickson, and I actually showed Joe Doc the photos of this place. It was awesome. This place was ridiculous. It was zoned residential because the guy who used to own the place, this was an old guy, must have passed away or something. He used to live there.
Oh yeah, out
And he
there on
ran-
Middle Valley Road. Yeah.
He ran a garage there. So this thing came with a 3-bay mechanics garage, like the real deal. And
Oh,
right next to
wow.
it was a small little shack that the dude lived in. Right. And so it was zoned for residential. Right. So you were gonna have to pay. I was thinking it's zoned residential, you pay residential taxes. And my mom pointed out that's not how that works. It doesn't matter what it's zoned as. If the tax man sees a commercial building, you're getting taxed commercial.
Mm-hmm.
That's just all there is to it. Even if you're not running a business out of it. So I thought it would just be cool to live in a garage.
My dad's
Like
old
big garage
machine
doors and
shop.
stuff. Like live in it like Fallout or Mad Max or something. I think
Well,
that'd be cool. But
Hey, Skunk, live in a house that you paid $52,000 for, and have them build a minimum $250,000 neighborhood in your backyard.
Now that's
Imagine what that does to your taxes.
that's what scares me is the local pharmacist owns about 12 acres in between the 12 where my family home is and the 68 of the family farm. And if he puts in a housing development there, it's gonna drive mama into bankruptcy trying to pay the taxes. I mean, she's already on limited resources because dad passed away, and they're not getting both of their Social Security anymore or both of their retirements anymore. So I just don't know. I just don't know. This is getting outrageous. I have always wanted to get lucky on the lottery and just buy that and just make it one great big swath and build a fence around it and for all I know, machine gun nest to keep anybody from coming on it.
Well, what you need to do you got brothers and sisters?
Yes, I do. My brother already lives on the far end of the farm from my mom.
He needs to get cows and pigs.
And
I don't.
machine gun nests cost ammo, and ammo is kind of expensive right now. I would highly recommend either flamethrowers or Tesla coils, and the Tesla coils should be solar powered.
I could do that. Dad used to work at Oak Ridge. I mean, I don't lack for resources.
Speaking of Tesla,
Oh, did they do the stock split yet?
I don't know, but the closing bell today, just to give you an idea, the opening IPO was $17 a share.
They must have done the stock split.
It closed at $2,002 today.
Oh, I hope the people in charge of my 401k have bought some of that stock.
At 9
so I want
o'clock.
to.
I don't want to have bought it at 5.
I do want to say something real quick. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. I now know who she is. I looked through her photos. I remember Alexis now. She used to come to Halicon.
Yeah, Alexis, you definitely need to start coming back to Halicon.
B. She says that I've come through her work at least twice, right? And she lives in Chickamauga, so I imagine that she works in Chickamauga. And
The last time I saw her was Walmart on Signal Mountain Boulevard.
See, I don't go to Signal Mountain at all. But for work, like I do go through Chickamauga. So I'm thinking if she saw me at a place and couldn't say hi to me, it would have to be a restaurant. You don't have to tell me which restaurant it is, Alexis, but am I right? Did you see me at a restaurant? Is that would be the only place you wouldn't be able to have said hi to me?
Oh, yeah, and Lewis.
Huh.
I broke the news to Lewis that how much money Elon made the other day.
I called it. Okay. Like I said, you don't have to tell me which one it is, but I...
Yeah. Was it yesterday I brought you the cord or the day before?
Yesterday.
Yesterday?
Yep.
Yeah, the news broke. Elon made, what, 4 billion? Was it 4 or 8 billion dollars?
You told me 8.
$8 billion yesterday on stock sales.
Sounds like my property tax.
And the thing is, he's spending it like it's nothing.
Inventor is now worth $90 billion.
A what?
Elon Musk is now worth $90 billion.
But Apple has just become the first $3 trillion company, I believe.
Real quick question, Joe.
Yeah.
What kind of
Yeah.
muscle car did you own when you were younger?
72 Chevelle Super Sport.
Okay, all right. It wasn't...
Was that a 350 or 400?
It was the 350. It was the 350 Super Sport. 354 barrel.
Okay, Rochester Quadrajets, dual exhaust, manual or automatic transmission?
It was an auto. Had the turbo 350.
The turbo 350. Yep.
Those things were bulletproof.
Oh man,
Well, go ahead.
you could fly.
Go
Go right ahead. I said what I needed to say.
I swear somebody in this call used to own a Charger.
No, never had a Charger. Me and my dad shared a 65 GT Mustang. I had a 78 Bandit.
My dad's brother had a Camaro. My dad used to drive Le Manses.
Well, my dad had an Olds 442.
And believe it or not, the Le Mans and the 442 is the same platform as the Chevelle.
The only 69
Now I had
Mustang with a 302.
Well,
A 68?
69 Mustang
Oh, 69?
with a 302.
I like.
302.
Look at Bill. Look at Bill. Hope all goes well with you in your new place. Your kid's gonna be living there, man. You're gonna come visit, and we're gonna be living we're gonna be living close enough. We're gonna come visit you. It's not gonna all goes well.
usually at dinner time, I expect.
With this place, Bill, if it works out, it's gonna go better than we expect. Because this place that we're looking at does have washer and dryer hookups, which means we need to get a washer and dryer.
That's $1,000 right there.
Hey, Dan, with Bill, dinner time, you go to... Dan, with Bill, at dinner time, you go to his house.
I do want to say this real quick. I got connections, John. Now, the washer and dryer we currently have in our place, the place that I currently live, is super nice washer and dryer that I helped my folks get a discount on because I worked at Best Buy at the time when they bought it. So they got the really nice washer and dryer with like the automatic settings and all that other stuff, all the it's the high efficiency, doesn't waste any water. We'll measure out exactly how much water and soap it needs to do it's super complicated. It's got computer chips and stuff in it. But I know a dude that works for an industrial laundry company that could get me like the simple, push button, washer starts and goes for 20 minutes, then does the spin cycle and then drops your clothes off. It's just an electronic motor. It just spins around for 20 minutes,
Lewis, I got you a good theory
What?
of what happened to 2020
What?
right there.
Oh. Yeah, I saw that.
I saw a webcomic on Facebook recently that was Cthulhu rising up out of the water, and he bumps into Godzilla. And Cthulhu's just all like, "Wait, I thought do we accidentally get our times mixed up?" It's like, no, I'm supposed to come out in August. You come out in winter. And it is just all like, "Wait, we're both showing up in the same year? What's going on?" And Galactus shows up and is like, "Hey guys, am I late?"
That's the part I don't get. What
The guy at the end?
Yeah, I didn't get.
He's a Marvel comic character. He's the world eater.
He literally eats worms.
Oh, okay.
He's drawn much smaller in the comic than he actually is in the web comic than he actually is in the Marvel comics. In the Marvel comics, he's bigger than Jupiter.
Yeah, he's huge.
Oh, okay.
He's so powerful.
The Earth is like an M&M to him.
Yeah, it takes so long for him to get from one planet to another. He creates heralds and sends them out to tell the world, "Hey, your planet's going to be eaten. Have a nice day." And
really? Prepare to become a bologna sandwich.
Really. And some of his heralds are some of the most powerful comic book characters in Marvel Comics, like Silver Surfer.
I was going to say, Silver Surfer is the most famous one.
Jean Grey the Phoenix was one of them.
T-Rex.
Speaking of Marvel Comics, I just discovered something the other day, and it offended me. I was offended. Can you guys believe it that I was offended by something in a comic book?
They have a character named Super Skunk.
There is a character who is based off of a skunk.
How did I know?
She's she's an X-Men character who's based off of a skunk, right? And they changed her design so that she's all white instead of black and white, so she would more resemble a cat because it was more marketable. Even though later on, one of the Marvel characters apparently is one of the other Marvel, like one of the X-Men is dating her. It's just all like, yeah, I date this alien skunk hybrid.
Could be worse.
Oh, wait. That
could be Squirrel Girl.
In the old, it's before Squirrel Girl. There are old comics of her from back in the day, from the Silver Age of Marvel, and there she is, big floofy skunk tail, and for some reason pointy cat ears. But
would that be Hepzibah?
What? I'm sorry.
Would that be Hepzibah?
Yes, that's her.
Okay,
you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I do. Hung out with Cyclops' dad out in far reaches of outer space before Cyclops found out his dad survived and his mom did get murdered.
I have no idea.
Oh, believe me, I do have every idea. I used to have all that stuff in paper. Now I've got it digital. Oh, good God. How many digital comics do I have? 2, maybe 3 terabytes?
Well, I only have 2 sets of digital comics on my computer. And the first set, of course, is I've got all of the Nightmare on Elm Street ones that I don't actually have in physical copy. I have digital versions of because, Nightmare on Elm Street, huge fan. The other one that I have is Puppet Master. And the reason being was that when I found out there were Puppet Master comics, it became sort of an obsession because I would see, because I was doing some research on Puppet Master. Charles Band's Puppet Master, by the way, the little like Blade and Torch and Pinhead and all those little guys. And when I found out there were comics, I started getting more and more into it because basically the comics are like a continuation of the series.
Yeah.
It brings back a lot of the characters and introduces new storylines and stuff that they couldn't film, and it's all written by band, and it's really cool stuff. And I started getting really into it, and I would read I was like I got to read this. I have to read. So I contacted my buddy. I'm like, you can get anything. Give me these comics. And so I'm starting to read through the series, and at one point, I go to the next issue. And it just jumps ahead, and I'm like, hey, dude, you screwed up. You sent me everything except for one of the issues. And yeah, that would be them right there. That's Blade, Tunneler, a.k.a. Drill Sergeant. I don't know. They call him that sometimes. And then Pinhead. But it was like there's one of the issues seems to be missing. But no, I sent you the whole series. We looked it up. One of the issues, which was the end of one of the storylines, before the next storyline started, the comic was never printed. Ever. Wasn't even released digitally. It doesn't exist. And the next issue just continues like the story, like that's where the story, but hey, you know everything that happened in that last comic? No, we don't. We didn't get to see that. Well, don't worry about it. It's not important. We're going to continue the story from here. So there's a whole issue of this comic that has never been released. And that because of that particular story arc goes 1, 2, 3 out of 4. 4 out of 4 doesn't exist, and then it starts the next series, which is 1, 2, 3. I'm like, oh man, that's like just dude, no. Like I gotta know what happens, and it's killing me. It'd be like if you had every issue of Spider-Man. You had every issue of Spider-Man that's ever been made, except one. The one that was never printed, and it just happens to be in the middle of one of the big storylines where like where Mary Jane dies or something.
Yep.
It just you get to that book, you end that comic, you go to pick up the next one, and you pick up the next one, and it's just all like you start reading through it. It's like, wait a minute, when did Mary Jane die? Hold on, this is issue 132. This is issue 134. Where's issue 133? They never printed it. The story was written. It was never printed. Therefore, it happened, but you don't get to see it.
Oh,
It's like having a reel missing out of a movie. It's
somewhere in a Foot Locker down in my garage, I've got a copy of the one where him and Mary Jane finally get married.
Oh, that one is worth a little bit of money if it's in good condition. Not an awful lot, but a little bit. There are some, besides the Nightmare on Elm Street stuff, there are some comics that I own that I need to get the rest of that I don't have. And I don't even have them digitally. I need to get the rest of the Final Destination comics because that was a thing that existed.
Yeah. Well, all right. Well, since we're talking about comics, next year there will be a comic book show back down in Dalton.
Yes. However, I do want to point out.
Yeah.
That last year I wanted to go talk to all of those guys and find out if any of them had any of the comics I was looking for, like the Nightmare on Elm Street ones or the other one. No, but instead I ended up having to be a gopher for everyone else the whole entire time, running around like a chicken with my head cut off.
Well, there's one issue, I forget, I think it's a Spider-Man issue. It's legendary. It's the girlfriend issue. And there's only one. This guy, and the story of it is, this guy's girlfriend bought him this comic, and it was like a $1,000 comic. A few weeks later, she finds out he'd been cheating on her. So she wrote the breakup note on the comic.
That's awesome.
And, it's worth tens of thousands of dollars now.
Skunk, if you can ever afford a really big hard drive, external hard drive, I can give you all the digital comics I have, every existing episode of Doctor Who, and my entire digital music collection, which would come out to about 6 terabytes.
I will say this, Dan. I appreciate it, right? But anything like that I want, I can get pretty easily if I'm gonna go that route. I'm at this point, like, really what I'm looking for is I'm honestly looking for, because I'm not somebody that collects a lot of physical media, but I do. There are certain things that I want to get. The Nightmare on Elm Street comics are one of them.
Oh,
Just
yeah,
because
I can understand why.
Nightmare on Elm Street stuff. And I used to have the Nightmare. I don't know what happened to them. They disappeared one day. I never found them again. I used to have the Marvel Comics Nightmare on Elm Streets, which was only a 2-issue run, and then it ended. It was supposed to have a 3rd issue. I've seen the cover for the 3rd issue, but it was never released. So luckily the 2-issue run ends. It doesn't end on a cliffhanger. That storyline was 2 issues. It ended perfectly, and that's all Marvel ever did. But technically, even though it's a Warner Brothers character, because Warner Brothers owns New Line, therefore they own Nightmare on Elm Street. Therefore, more or less, Freddy's basically a DC Comics character now. But at one point, he was a Marvel character, technically.
That's happened before.
So that's, I think that's pretty neat. That DC and Marvel both have produced Nightmare on Elm Street comics. Now, I have some of the Nightmare on Elm Street comics from DC. I used to have the Marvel ones. I'd like to get them again. But Innovation was the company that was doing the bulk of the Nightmare on Elm Street comics, which are awesome. Their Nightmare on Elm Street comics were great because they were they were the thing. The Innovation Nightmare on Elm Street comics linked parts 5 and 6 and told that story in between about how Freddy was able to continue killing in Springwood after Alice trapped him again at the end of part 5. It showed how he got out and stuff. And it's got some really cool stuff in there. It also has some really silly stuff in there. Like in one of the issues, it implies very, very, very heavily that Freddy is directly related to Jack the Ripper, who looks like Robert Englund. Coincidence? I think not.
That one, I don't know. No, I've been studying Jack the Ripper for almost 50 years, so there's a lot of stuff I've forgotten, but I know the people that lead the tours around London and everything, and
I'm pretty sure that Jack the Ripper does not look like a Southern California surfer guy. I'm pretty sure.
I'd say that's pretty close. Probably looks like a dock worker.
Depends on the type of ripping.
Well, that's the thing. Like, if you've ever seen pictures of Robert Englund, but whenever he's outside of the Freddy makeup, not now, he's much older now. He looks more like he just looks, now he just looks like your grandpa. But back in the day, when these comics were made in the late 80s, early 90s, back then, I mean, he literally just had the slicked back blonde hair. But previous to that, it was curly. He just looked like a dude that you'd see hanging out at the beach, drink some brewskis and hit the waves, man. Come on, dude. He was that guy. He played that guy.
I found this.
Huh? You okay, Joe?
I found the story.
Yeah, there you go.
The Amazing Spider-Man number. Amazing Spider-Man number 14.
He was a surfer dude. That's what he still surfs, apparently. When I heard, he still surfs. But yeah, back then, that's the way he played Willie on V. He was just the goofy surfer alien. And he acted the part. He was just like happy-go-lucky, like, hey, man, I'm an alien from Southern California. How you doing? He played outside of Freddy, outside of his horror roles, whenever he was playing anything else, he always went into it with that kind of like that goofy surfer kid charm. It's great. All the roles he played outside of horror films, that's what he did. He was just always like, I'm just a goofy surfer guy. How you doing? He even did that on Married with Children when he played Satan. He just played this not even like Freddy version of like Satan was just like, hey, Al, how you doing?
Hey, dude.
He was just, oh God, he's so great. That's why I love Robert Englund so much. He's so much fun.
Yeah, I just posted the story over on Stupid O'Clock, the group page.
Mm-hmm.
It was Spider-Man 14.
That would have been really early.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it was volume 1, if it was volume 52, it wouldn't have been so early. But
If it is the one I think it is,
Because there were 4 different Spider-Man comics at one time.
But if this is 14,
Yeah.
the original 14 would be Amazing Spider-Man.
The Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Would be the first issue with the Green Goblin.
Yeah.
Guest starring none other than the Hulk.
Yes.
Back when the Green Goblin looked more like a semi-truck from a certain 1980s horror film directed by Stephen King.
Yeah.
But let's see the story. That would be a very, 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 very rare comic. Like an unbelievably rare comic. The new design of Facebook's making it really hard to find those.
Yeah. But yeah, even Stan Lee knew about it. And one of the stories I heard is when Stan Lee heard about it and all that, he goes, he must have really pissed her off.
Here's a tweet about it. The angry girlfriend variant has surfaced again and is for sale.
Yeah. Read what it says on there.
It says, I never thought I'd be able to destroy something that meant so much to me. As far as I'm concerned, you're dead. In no way am I can't read that part because of the glare. Is it going to be noble or anything like that? Okay. In no way am I going to be noble or anything like that. And then the front cover says chance, turnover, and then in big bold letters right across the face of Green Goblin, it says go to hell.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
That's just... I have held that comic book in my hand.
That's funny. It was one of the things about that show though. That comic book show was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. By the time I was able to stop and actually talk with some people, I basically just talked to Kevin, and then everybody else was gone. That was it. Which Kevin is. We basically I just basically was telling him about like I'm getting into wrestling and stuff and how that's going, and he was like, "Oh, cool, man, yeah. How's everybody in the business doing, man? I haven't talked to anybody in forever." I'm like, Kevin, half of them miss you, man. You keep getting brought up in conversation. Yeah, they would bring up Kevin Sexton, but they would always use his wrestling name, which I have no idea what it is because I just know it was Kevin Sexton. And I'd be like, "Who the hell is that?" And they're like, "Kevin Sexton." I'm like, "Oh, I know that dude." But yeah, and then it was him, and I talked to Frylock for a while.
Oh, okay.
But I put on the Guardians of the Galaxy because remember we put the Guardians of the Galaxy soundtrack on the SD card, so we could play it through the speakers, right? For some reason, this goober over here wanted to use an SD card, which I told him was probably a bad idea. Turned out it was a bad idea. I had to go back and reformat the SD card so that the songs would actually play randomly rather than just one song in order. Where it's playing in alphabetical order and it sounded weird. But we had the Guardians of the Galaxy soundtrack playing. And of course, a lot of the Guardians of the Galaxy soundtrack, like old funk and R&B and soul and stuff like that, that's on the Awesome Mix 1 and 2. And the guy who plays the voice of Frylock was really into it. He was like, yeah, this is good music, man. You play some good music, man. And I was telling him that, I DJ and stuff like that. And he was, a little small conversation with him. He was really nice. He was really nice. Seemed extremely bored. Seemed as bored as Lewis is right now.
Yeah.
Well, not a big comic book guy, so the topic kind of got away from me.
Yeah. Well, let's get you into cosplay then.
Well, before that, can I just say that the Chattanooga Police Department Public Information Officer is worthless.
What?
Okay. Press release sent out today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let's hear this.
Breaking news.
Chattanooga Police Department arrest homicide 2600 block Waterfront Drive. Original date 8/19/20. So they wrote this yesterday. But the crime occurred on the 18th. And now, today, 2 days later, they're sending out the press release. On August 19th, 2020. Okay, well, you see now they've got and now they've got two different dates because the original date said the 18th. Okay. On August 19th, 2020 at approximately 2:30 p.m., Chattanooga police responded to a well-being check at a residence in 2600 block of Waterfront Drive. Following are the preliminary facts of the investigation. Police were contacted to check the well-being of an adult female and an adult male who live at the residence. Upon arrival, police located the adult male and a deceased adult female. Based on evidence obtained at the scene and interview of the adult male, investigators determined the woman's death was a criminal act caused by the adult male. Suspect is charged with criminal homicide, abuse of a corpse, and tampering with evidence. Suspect is in custody in the Hamilton County Jail. And they list the victim as Teresa Bailau, female, 54, and the suspect as Garrett Bailau, male, 19. Okay. Can't you just say kid killed his mom?
Like kid killed his grandma.
I actually heard more about this story.
Well, can you confirm that it's a mother-son or
It
what?
It is a mother-son.
Okay. You see, I shouldn't have to guess that. The police should give us that information because they know the public's going to want to know what's the relationship between you.
Now here.
Maybe you should apply for that job.
Oh,
now
I don't want that job. I really don't.
Here's the rest of the story.
All right, Paul Harvey.
Hollywood could not write this. This stands possibility of a horror movie scene. The father / husband is out of town on a business meeting.
Mm-hmm.
He watched everything over the internet cam.
I heard that.
Wow. By the way,
he was 8 hours away and couldn't do anything.
One of the news companies has broadcasted it.
Who is WDEF's news?
I think that's
CBS.
WDEF is
several.
No, the Sunny 92 is. They're not running Channel 12
The
news.
radio station uses ABC radio news.
Yeah, it was WTVC.
I do want to point out that I didn't know where Waterfront was, so I decided to look it up.
Yeah.
And then on the map, while I was looking at it, I was like, oh, okay, there's Waterfront Drive. And something grabbed my attention because on the screen, where on Google Maps, where I could see Waterfront Drive and where it is located, There's a company in Chattanooga called Angry Squirrel Computers and Graphics, and that just makes me happy. So some good came out of this.
Yeah. But yeah, the father was actually watching it happen on the cam and couldn't get a hold of anybody.
So he called and
I
asked
guess
for a
he's the
welfare
one that
check.
called the police and said, go check on her welfare.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
They found her. He drug the abusive corpse was he drug her out in the woods and buried her under limbs. Hid the body under limbs.
It is the top story on the WDEF webpage.
It's going to sound really callous to say, but I don't like why. If you're gonna kill somebody, why are you gonna be lazy about it?
Out of sight, out of mind.
Passion. People
Does
don't
he
think about
have-
people don't think about it when they do it.
Does he have any actual cognitive disabilities?
Yes, several.
Because there's this whole thing with kids when if it's really out of sight, it really is out of mind.
No, but yeah, that's the news story, Lewis. That's what that's about.
yeah. Son charged with strangling his mom after father saw it on security cams. You see, police department couldn't have put that little tidbit in that it was the father that called. Burying the lead. Man, when Fred Fletcher was here, their public information officer was on the spot, on the scene.
Oh yeah,
Everything. I mean,
I told
David
you.
Rodney takes over and it all goes to crap.
I told you you need to get that job.
I don't want that job.
John, you were part of Chattanooga Message Forum, weren't you?
No.
You weren't.
No.
We actually knew the PIO at one time,
Oh,
and
yeah.
he was a damn good
Yes,
damn good
he
job.
was.
Okay. Didn't he used to pull security up at Litchfield?
No, but he pulled security at Chattacon.
Okay, that's where I know him from then.
Craig Joel.
Yeah, Craig Joel.
Yeah, he's awesome. Still a great guy.
Who's the fellow that was at Litchfield all the time that we used to hang? We used to go outside and smoke cigarettes with him.
Chapman.
Chapman. Thank you.
See, the thing is Craig Joel, when there was a crime scene, we would all get there and he knew how to treat the media. He wouldn't withhold any information that wouldn't ruin the investigation. And he kept us entertained while we were waiting. There's a lot of PAOs that'll just say, wait here behind this tape, I'll get back to you. No, he had people that were bringing him information or sending it to him by text, and he would just sit there and shoot the keys with us. And there were more than one mass murder scenes where we were just cracking up, laughing with Craig.
Well, with Craig, he also knew y'all through Message Forum.
Yeah.
And so there was a personal relationship.
Yeah, this Elise Mazzal, who's doing it now, never seen her. Never seen her face.
Well, what you need to do is find a professional news person to go over there, smack her around a bit, and give her a few pointers.
Do a new story on why she sucks so
There you
much.
go.
What is she hiding?
Yeah.
The people want to
And I
know.
won't even be getting these.
Yeah.
Everybody gets those. All you got to do is go to the website.
No.
No.
I do want to ask.
Chattanooga police will blacklist your ass.
I do want to
Yes.
ask. I do want to ask you a question though, and this is a serious question, Lewis.
Okay.
Are you going to need one of these?
What is
500
Acetaminophen.
500 acetaminophen. extra.
Would
the-
you like me to go down and tell
extra
the Chattanooga
straight.
City Police Department that their
I-
PR sucks?
I buy my headache pills in bulk because I get migraines.
You know, strangely enough, the Chattanooga Police Department has been having a lot of problems lately with PR.
Yeah.
Now would actually be the time to go down there and slap somebody around.
Yeah.
But
You know,
but-
if I could ever get in to see Chief Roddy, I would tell him to his face. But that's another thing. Fred Fletcher, when he was chief of police, for the short period of time that he was, I was the first person in town to interview him. I was the last person in town to interview him when he left. And I probably had sit-down interviews with him 4 or 5 times during his tenure, and they weren't about comfortable topics. He didn't shy away from telling the truth about what was going on in his department, and he did it because he knew that the more the public knew, the more they would be on his side.
I do want to point out something real quick before we go. Right, and that is
it's
that
almost time.
Chattanooga Police Department actually got some like they had some really good press for them recently when the chief of the department was saying like, hey, if you feel a certain way about the George Floyd's passing, resign.
Yeah.
B, these protests are happening for a reason. Let's keep them peaceful. And he was saying that to his officers. And the Chattanooga Police
He was
Department
out there.
100% was keeping things peaceful.
Yeah.
It was a
He was
another
literally
law
out there
enforcement organization
in the street.
showed up to
I'm not
make
saying the
things
department's
worse.
bad. I'm saying the department does a lousy job of communicating with our local press.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
I'm just saying that they're a good police department, and if that's something that they can fix, that I mean that would be fantastic. I'm just saying that they're not a bad place. I don't want to slander the Chattanooga Police Department, and this is coming from somebody who's a punk rocker and has certain feelings about most law enforcement officials.
Yeah. And Dan, just to give you an idea who Chief Fletcher is that we were talking about, when he went with his burr haircut and wore that black leather jacket, he looked like Christopher Eccleston doing Doctor Who.
Yeah, you're
Okay.
right.
That
I can
mean,
buy
he-
that.
I mean,
Apparently he's coming back. Did you guys hear about that?
Yes,
he's
I did.
on the
Eccleston's going to be doing a cameo as 10th Doctor again, or I mean 9th Doctor.
and it'll be in the
but
audio.
It's
things
going to
that
be
Chris-
audio. It's going to be audio. It's a big finished production, so
He
it
was
will
my
have
first doctor, actually.
excellent production quality.
He was the doctor when I first watched Doctor Who. So.
Yeah, same here. Well, I take that back. I did watch a lot of the
Tom Baker.
Tom Baker.
I went back.
Yeah, I
Classics.
was about to say,
But-
when y'all said
first
Eccleston, I was like,
saw
you know, my first doctor was Baker,
Baker.
and everybody was complaining because he had just taken over.
And yes, Dan, we know that your first Doctor was the first Doctor.
Doctor.
Hey, John, I'm going to
No,
start
actually-
the closeout. but you
Actually,
need
I
to-
started with
You
with
need to
Baker,
end the stream
but
because
my
I'm going to have to
favorite
jump out of
is
here
number 2.
for a minute.
Oh,
gotta
I got to
start
do it.
regular job. So I'll
Heather,
have Saturday.
Heather, real quick before we
See-
go, what was your first Doctor?
Eccleston.
Okay, all right.
I'll
right.
finish it over.
All right.
I can
Yep.
remember when Pertwee was in Jason and the Argonauts. Okay.
We have 10
all right.
seconds. We gotta go. Come on,
Gotta go. See y'all later.
Gotta go. Bye.
Oh, I have slept the surly bonds of earth and danced the skies on laughter-silvered wings. sunward I've climbed, and joined the tumbling mirth of sun-split clouds, and done 100 things you have not dreamed of. Wheeled and soared and swung high in the sunlit silence. Hovering there, I've chased the shouting wind along and flung my eager craft through footless halls of air. Up, up the long, delirious, burning blue, I've topped the windswept heights with easy grace, when never lark nor even eagle flew. And while with silent, lifting mind, I've trod the high, untrespassed sanctity of space, put out my hand and touched the face of God.